Welcome to Brain Secrets in the Age of the Brain. I enjoy sharing researched brain bits that I call Brain Secrets. This is the season for Thanksgiving. Studies have shown that thankfulness is the antidote for fear. Turns out it does a lot more than that. Did you know that gratitude changes the very neural structures of your brain to help you feel more content? Gratitude can improve sleep quality, promote more interest in physical exercise, lower levels of inflammation, lower blood pressure, boost your immune system, decrease your risk of disease, and reduce depression, anxiety, and symptoms of pain. Plus, improve overall mental well-being. Harvard Health has pointed out that when people are grateful and acknowledge the goodness in their lives, they typically recognize that the source of all that goodness lies at least partially outside themselves. Being grateful helps people connect with something larger than themselves, whether to nature or a higher power. Expressing appreciation benefits the giver and the receiver. And now it's time to join Asia Hudson and Grant Gilmore for a potpourri of Thanksgiving questions.
Can I ask y'all a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I love the enthusiasm. So what's your name?
My name is Alex Xavier.
I love that name. Okay, so the question is, if you could ask a brain function specialist any question about how your brain works and why, what would you ask her?
How do you sleep? How do you sleep for like 13 hours but wake up still sleepy?
A question for the ages, a genius question. How do you sleep for a long time and then wake up still sleepy? Thank you so much. That is a great answer. Great question. The question was, how is it that you can sleep for 13 hours and still wake up sleepy? That is a great question. Something he will be wondering well into his old age.
Some people need more sleep than the typical 7 to 8 hours. If you've not been giving your brain the amount of sleep it needs, and then sleep for 13 hours trying to catch up, it might not be enough, and you could still be sleepy. You may not be getting quality sleep either. Keep all electronics out of the bedroom. They can leak electromagnetic energy, which can cause restless sleep. Stretch in bed as soon as you wake up. Wiggle your toes. Take a few slow, deep breaths. Deep breathing helps to boot up your brain. If you get enough sleep and are still constantly tired, check with your physician. You may be low on something your brain needs to help keep it alert, such as acetylcholine or L-theanine.
If you could ask a brain function specialist a question about brain function, what would you ask her?
How do you define consciousness?
That's a really good one.
And do you think that our mind is our soul? Where do you think the separation is there?
Dr. Taylor, I don't mean to make all these other people jealous, but that might be the best question we've ever had.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Of course. Well, let's see what she says. Thank you so much.
Consciousness is a complex complexity. I define consciousness as the state of being aware of yourself and the world around you. There seems to be some consensus that the brain creates the mind, and then the mind can in turn influence the brain and tell it what to do, which is mind-blowing. Some do equate the mind with the soul. I don't. While there may be some connection or crossover, I perceive the soul as our vital life force, which includes the spirit with which we live life. As far as we know, at death, the brain, the mind, and the soul all cease to exist on this planet. That vital life force quietly disappears.
If you could ask a brain function specialist any question about how your brain functions, what would you ask her?
Just basically like how we like think in general, how our brain sends the messages to our body so quickly.
Human beings think due to neurons or thinking cells that communicate with each other over neuron pathways. The neurons do not touch each other. They are separated by a small space or synapse. The information the neuron wants to share with another neuron travels electrically along the neuronal axon. When it arrives at the synapse, chemicals known as neurotransmitters carry the information across the synaptic gap and are picked up on the other side by another neuron, and so on. Multiple nerve pathways connect the brain and body through the brain stem into the spinal cord. From there, the nerves branch out to every portion of the body. The speed of transmission varies in different parts of the brain and body, and depending on the type of message being sent. Estimates are that they travel in speeds of up to 200 miles per hour or more. That works out to 293 feet per second.
Why is it that you cannot see people's faces in your dreams?
What do you guys do for like a living? Is it smart people stuff? Because it must be smart people stuff, because that's a great question.
Most people do see faces in dreams. The brain can show faces or compilations of faces you have seen, even if you don't recall having seen them. Evidently, it does not create unknown faces. A person without a face may represent your own subconscious mind. Try to picture the face of someone you know well in your mind's eye. Approximately 3 to 5% of the population can't easily visualize or picture faces in their mind's eye when awake. If you're in that group, this might carry over into your dreams. Studies suggest that you only have 10 to 20 seconds to move the dream into conscious awareness once you wake up. Talk about it aloud. Record a note in your phone. Keep paper and pen by the bed and write a few sentences. Talk to your brain. Say your name and then, Arlene, you see faces in your dreams. Pay attention and see what happens. Even if you can't see faces, you still may be able to figure out what the subconscious is trying to tell you by what is happening in the dream.
Hey, y'all, can I ask you a quick question? Okay, the question is, if you could ask a brain function specialist a question about brain function, what would you ask her?
How far are we from understanding the brain?
Good questions. My brain's opinion is that since the human brain is said to be the most complex piece of biological real estate in the known universe, there is a great deal more to learn, and it likely won't happen in my lifetime. It's only been since the 1950s, with the advent of the electron microscope, that the neuron was confirmed as the basic functional unit of the nervous system. Advances in brain imaging equipment have speeded up the research. In 2013, a Danish neuroscientist, Maken Nedergaard, PhD, at the University of Rochester Medical Center, led research that discovered and named the brain's glymphatic system that drains waste products from the brain. A failure of that system may be linked to dementias. In 2015, Dr. Jonathan Kipnis and colleagues discovered that the brain has an immune system, with immune vessels running through the 3 meningeal coverings of the brain. I agree with many who say that the greatest scientific challenge of the 21st century is the human brain. Maybe that's the reason this period of the world's history is called the Age of the Brain. Stay tuned.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so his question inspired me to ask a question because when he pointed at, I'm assuming his lady partner possibly, he said no pressure. So my question would be, Dr. Taylor, how does pressure and functioning and thinking under pressure impact the brain?
It depends on the type of pressure. If it's something you enjoy doing and you're giving your brain enough sleep, water, exercise, and good nutrition, your brain can perceive it as a doable challenge. Step up to the plate, handle it quite well, and consider it eustress or positive stress. If it's something you dislike doing or find difficult, or you are not living a healthy lifestyle, your brain may view it as a cannot succeed stressor. What constitutes a stressor is quite subjective because every brain is different. However, when the human brain is stressed, it automatically downshifts to a lower functioning level. It directs its energy and attention away from the cerebrum or the thinking level to the emotional, mammalian level, and eventually down to the reptilian or fight or flight survival level. At this point, your immune system may start to fail. After all, while getting sick is an additional stressor, it does force you to take a break. The brain perhaps hoping you'll regroup and start taking care of it and your body.
All right. Can I ask y'all a quick question?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know you were going to ask me. I didn't prepare a question.
Okay, I'll ask it again. I'll buy you some time. If you could ask a brain function specialist a question about the brain and how it works, what would you ask her?
Why do we dream and what do they mean?
Great question, but science has no definitive answer for why humans dream. They do believe that most people dream for about 2 hours each night. Whether or not they can remember them is something else again. Dreams do not impact quality of sleep, although they can be more vivid during REM sleep in the hours before waking. Nightmares do disrupt sleep as they usually wake you up. Eating a late, heavy meal, drinking alcohol, or watching scary or gruesome movies have been found to increase the risk of nightmares. Common themes include flying, falling, being chased, or being unable to find a restroom. To recall a dream, you must talk or write about it immediately upon awakening. What do they mean? Again, no definitive answer exists, although interpretations, so-called, abound.
Tampa in Maryland.
Maryland, Tampa, what's going on? I'm great. How are you doing? Right on, right on. So now that you came up into the camera, I have to ask you a question. The question is, if you could ask a brain function specialist a question about the brain, anyway, how it functions, anything, what would you ask?
What color is it? I don't know.
No, that's actually a good question. What color is the brain? We've actually never had that question. Everybody asks us about sleep. Literally everyone. So we've never had a brain color question. Thank you so much.
All right, that's what's up.
I appreciate you. There it is.
Great question. Brain color is pinkish gray on the left hemisphere and pinkish white on the right, as more neuronal axons are wrapped with that whitish insulating myelin material in the right hemisphere. Although occasionally the brain hemispheres are completely reversed, doesn't change the color. So, bottom line, human brains are the same color regardless of skin color, or when the brain hemispheres are reversed. Knowing this, in my brain's opinion, makes a gravitation toward racial prejudice so ludicrous.
If you could ask a brain function specialist a question about the brain, what would you ask her?
She's a medical professional, so she can answer.
I would ask if every brain has the function, like if everybody has the same function as anyone. So meaning if you can do everything the same as anyone, meaning can I sing, can I dance, can I do anything if I learn it, which I don't think I can.
That's a really good question. So basically, like, do we all have the same basic neurological abilities that we just haven't unlocked to be as great of a singer as Adele?
Exactly.
Every brain on planet Earth is different. None are identical. Unimpaired, each brain has similar types of brain functions. However, each also is believed to have a bent involving unique gifts. This includes the type of IQ, intelligence quotient, heredity, nurturing, brain bent or talents, and whether they grew up in an environment that helped them figure out what they love to do and were good at. Some families expect children to follow in the generational steps in terms of profession. While it works for some, it definitely doesn't work for others. The difference in attainment is a combination of innate giftedness along with practice and opportunity. An average singer will never be an Adele, no matter how many hours of practice, but might be very good in another area of music. Someone interested in science will likely never be a Neil deGrasse Tyson, but might be a talented teacher. Figuring out what you love and can be particularly good at with learning and practice and opportunity can help you excel in your field. And thank you, our viewers, for watching. At this time of Thanksgiving, our entire Brain Secrets Ask Dr. Taylor team wish you and yours a happy, gratitude-filled season. According to the Roman philosopher Cicero, gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others. Until next time, remember that an attitude of gratitude benefits your brain, your health, and your relationships. That's a brain secret.